strange beasts. Hello and welcome to Read Play Game, the tabletop role-playing... Nope.
Yeah.
The Slugblaster and role-playing...
Hello and welcome to this... Hello and welcome to this episode of Read Play Game, the podcast where we look at...
Hey!
What is happening?
Okay.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Read Play Game, the podcast where we look at tabletop role-playing games from every side of the table. I'm Jess, and I just played, I already forgot my character name. Tanner,
Tantrum.
Nostradamus, Tantrum.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I just played Sammy B. Yeah, that was me.
I'm Anish, Slugmastered.
And I'm Tori. I played Abner Prismac Avery.
Before we get any further,
slugs.
We did just blast slugs. Okay, before we even get into thanking Anish for GMing and all of that, I did want to state, we talked to Anish about this. At the beginning of the rule book, they say, like, the how to GM the book is called to be the slug master, or like to become the slug master. They never mention it again.
Never.
After that, it's always game master, and that is my biggest complaint about this game. So starting off strong.
Let's hate.
Yeah.
Let's hate.
It betrayed me. It betrayed me by not sticking with Slugmaster.
And
I
assume how that happened is maybe that they originally said Game Master throughout the book, and then they changed it last
And
minute.
they're like, Slugmaster! And they didn't.
Except maybe they didn't do
They
that, but
didn't
like
change it.
they could have Control F'd.
Yeah.
They were in the parking lot.
There's
covered
3
in
instances
pastry
of the
crumbs.
Slugmaster in the book.
Yeah.
Only 3.
But anyway,
I enjoyed this rule book, and granted, listeners, Emma had you put this together, this Word doc, where you kind of like extracted the important information that still included descriptive factors. Sometimes I hear the rule books and I get a little like if it feels like they're trying too hard to be like quirky XD or whatnot. And this one I actually really enjoyed. I thought for the most part it stayed in world, which I know is rich coming from me because I cannot help myself from making like a reference while role playing. You know what I mean?
You know what that is? Self-hatred.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Wait, what? Are you saying that?
I see the rule book
The
being
reason I
quirky.
cringe is because I recognize.
wow. Okay, going back. So now that I've gotten that off my chest with
Great
how
job,
it betrayed me. Fantastic job, Anish.
Fantastic
So
job,
fun.
As always. I was
Thanks.
really
Now's your
Thanks.
time to deflect. Go ahead.
Cool. I think I'm the best GM. That was fucking awesome. Cool. Oh no, y'all are supposed to laugh.
It was a nice, refreshing.
Yeah,
I
quick
loved
one.
it.
It was fun.
Completely change of pace.
No, I mean you saying you rocked. I like that. It was a refreshing change to hear you be
Okay.
like, "Yeah, actually, I did rock that."
Please do that. Own it, bitch.
Oh, that was a joke. Y'all
I
want to hear
know,
me plan
but
this?
Yes.
Okay, here's me spinning out for a couple minutes about what to do in the session. Wow, that was really insightful.
Oh,
But wait, we do
now
need
that
some
was a
information.
behind the screen.
Okay, cool. Now we put in the clip. Okay, my players just stepped out to take a break. I'm gonna try and prep this session. Here's the thing. I didn't really deeply read this rulebook, but I got a vibe. My players like Fortnite, and I personally love the game Sonic Riders. I've been listening to the soundtrack all week, so I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but in any case, I want it to be like that one Fortnite season where they had that town with the grind rails, and I think grind rails are a very specific key touchstone for me. The book features a couple locations. I'm looking at the location called Operablum. Here's the description. 3 warring corporate megatowers connecting with twisted pedways and skytrains, raves, androids, mirror shades. You get it. I have a feeling that like this kind of corporate like I don't feel it's like completely Blade Runner-esque, but like a big city, tons of winding pathways. These teams should not be here, but they are. And in terms of tone, I might take a step back from how kind of dingy the descriptions are to be a little bit more camp, perhaps. Again, it's Fortnite. We're playing Fortnite. Some featured locations. I'm reading these. The Matt Static, the hottest club in the multiverse. Illegal flavors of Panic Energy are pushed here. The drop line. This famous skate route starts off the M train platform, snakes across a tangle of skywires, past the giant party windows of Matt Static, which we just talked about, and ends with a faith-testing airdrop into a supposed portal near the hard-decker mining floors. Already, I am in love with this. I am in love with the idea of a huge race. And maybe we can pull on our crew factions that we talked about. BRB was the one I posed. They're this kind of like really serious group of Slugblasters that are going to make Slugblasting into an Olympic sport. If they're already unfriendly with our crew here, maybe they get into a bit of a bout, like they make a bet with each other or something like that. I love that idea. I think I'll go with that. The page here also mentions some problems that are happening in this location. Oh, I also realized that the Wilkie's Candy Lab is also from here, so we could throw that in terms of a sponsor and potential tie-in as a faction. Problems. Pickpockets snatch something and take off running. I already did that in a different campaign, so maybe I won't do that. Crucial infrastructure begins to break apart. Something bad falls from 1,000 floors above. Homicidal fun bots break out from the Candy Lab, portaling into the middle of a gang war. Okay, these are interesting. Okay. I'm less hype on the gang war parts. I'm more caught up in proxy wars. I like infrastructure falling apart. Like this is more my shit. And let's have this take place in the alleyways. Let's move up into the world, and let's say that Wilkie's is sponsoring a race that the BRP is participating in, and it's a free sign up. I'm sure there's a Star Wars reference here. I haven't watched those movies, but I think there's a race, and maybe it's a race for a big sponsorship, and that could be cool as a location. Every run has a goal, an associated prize, and one starting obstacle. I think their obstacle is going to be BRB and also these rival Slugblaster groups, kind of all pitching in for their pot in the prize, which is an official sponsorship from Wilkie's, and maybe like a cash sum to do with whatever you want, and maybe a promise to deck out more gear. And that could appeal to either Avery or Tantrum, potentially. Beyond that, I think the goal seems like the sponsorship deal. Another thing that the rulebook offers is a bunch of different monsters. I barely glanced at this section, but seeing that Jess is playing the heart who's interested in monsters, I might take a quick look at them and see an interesting kind of snag we can add in terms of just like maybe on the track a fucking crazy slug breaks out on the field or something. So let's look through this. Psionic Crocodile, we brought that up. Math Panther. Okay. What the hell is this? Tears at you with claws. Paws at you. Nah, I'm not into it. I mean, it's slugs. A metaterrestrial slug chases you with quickly on Nega Friction's Lime Trail. I mean, like, that seems like a good general thing to do. The androids, here's one sentence from the androids. While most androids are friendly collaborators, this one in front of you probably isn't. Kill mode engaged, deploys hidden arsenal, pursues you relentlessly like a freaking Terminator, adapts to energy weapon modulation frequencies, transform into more advantageous configurations. Ooh, this is interesting. I think this could be like maybe some androids that are meant to be like cheerleaders on the sidelines. Maybe one of the groups that are anti-Wilkies hacks the androids that are like on the sidelines, and their goal is to like ruin the entire thing, like because they're so anti-corp. Let me take a look at those crews and factions and see if that's a thing. Either way, if it is this kind of big explosion of like things, they'd probably want to get out of there ASAP because they're not fighting these like we mentioned before in the Reed episode. They're always running away, less so engaging. So maybe the prize shouldn't just be a sponsorship. Maybe it should be a physical thing that's literally at the end of the track that they want to be motivated to just grab and run away with as they're being pursued by all these fucking crazy androids. What is a good prize for our 3 fun characters? I think there's a section about opportunities. Prize ideas. Ah, yes. Amp, getting access to a dope spot where tricks earn +1 style bonus, 3 to 5. Components or gear, favor, impressing a specific faction. Favor is a good prize, I think, with Wilkies. Could be good. But I want to give our heart something, maybe access to like a fun robot. Maybe the robot like breathes fire. Like, ooh, what if Wilkies is releasing like this like spicy chip and the mascot is a fucking robotic dragon? And they could just have the chance to win like a pocket dragon, which is completely Tantrum's vibe. What would we call it? I don't know. I have no idea. I maybe there's a monster that looks like that. There's gotta be. Where are the dragons? Omni-mouth horde. Maybe it's the Omni-mouth Hydra chips. What's like a types of dragon? Hydra? Ooh, like Omni-mouth Hydra. Drago, Drake, Basilisk. Oh, Basilisk worms? Ooh, gummy worms! That could be sick. Like worms as in dragon. But spicy? Maybe it could work. Wavy Wyvern hot chips? Wavy Wyvern hot chips? Yeah, I think maybe gummy worm is funny. I think I'll stick with that. Sour gummy worm. And like it's a real animal that breathes fire. Fuck it. We ball. It's a sour, spicy gummy worm that has an inordinate amount of red 40 in it. Perfect. This is the important shit that I need to come up with. This is my planning. God, I'm fucking going crazy. Nobody's going to listen to all this, by the way. We're editing all of it.
I have a question.
Wow, how insightful. Sorry, continue.
Do most games come with pre-made NPCs that you can select? Because
Yes.
Sex, who I loved, right, had already like a descriptor, and I think a couple of them were like picked from the book. Is that
yes,
true?
each of the crews,
Are
either the
specific.
crowds, the different factions, they have listed crew members with short descriptions. I embellish as needed in the moment. But yeah, they're very specific and very tonally specific. So all the wicks that are there, I was just inspired by what I saw.
Is that
Literally read
standard?
off.
Mr.
Or for the like Scum and Villainy, Blades in the Dark factions.
Forged in the Dark game.
Forged in the Dark. For Scum and Villainy, I'm remembering it more like the factions were so large that you didn't get like the whole crew, but they would give
If they were like
specific
leaders.
people for examples. Yeah.
And it's literally a parentheses description of people. So pretty cool.
So, yeah, and
All the
that's
people you met at the corporate party were listed on there.
Really?
really, including
Kinsey,
Kinsey. Wow.
the guy who was like the fun
The fun
fundraiser
guy.
guy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Bless.
Yeah, his notes were like monotone.
I hope he's okay.
I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
I think it's really cool the way that the tools that they established as just I mean, obviously the setting specific games like this are the ones that tend to have the specific characters and specific factions and just information about the world. But I think it's cool how literally just the it seems, at least in your case, the relationships with the factions, like the +1s and the -1s, were extremely helpful in just informing your creation of the job, of the run, because you literally could just look at that and be like, okay, so now, like that's convenient that you can just automatically have factions that will be relevant, and that seems like it's a very, very helpful GM tool.
Yeah, as somebody who likes to prep certain specific things in my head, doing this off the cuff was actually decently easy, and maybe that's like because I have, like I GM stuff often, and like I'm comfortable with that. But I have a feeling if somebody has like the right attitude, like and is kind of with the go with the flow, like Slugblaster can offer like a lot of procedural generation and like collaboration in terms of what people want to do.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of you can make
And
it.
it almost this type of game, I feel like, almost punishes you for over prepping, because if you were to prep something really specific ahead of time and then we picked factions that you hadn't prepared for, it would have been like, well, shit. So it's like you have to wait. It's like a relay race, passing.
Yeah, exactly.
I would also say in general that you probably, with most games, don't want to prepare too much before session 0 anyway.
For sure.
But obviously, because of the format of this podcast, that's not going to happen as often because we do have to
do
it all at once. But I do think I have previously, I've been intimidated, let's say, by the Forged in the Dark system and how I would GM it. I think I really like it, but it's cool to see how well it seems to help, because I got overwhelmed by like the way the action flows, but I feel like that worked really well for this, because I remember looking at Blades in the Dark and being like, oh, it's kind of confusing to me how like the rolls turn out, and you've got mostly these you in this it's divided very simply into snags and
slams.
Okay,
you were talking about snags and slams.
But I just think it was really cool. This game, I think especially, because you've got Blades in the Dark, you've got Scum and Villainy, you've got, I can't even think of any others because I don't remember them. But this one, I think, seems to really, really work for that, because the momentum of the game is so like visual. In your head, the visuals of this are so fast paced. Like the action of it is everything. Even a heist is supposed to be fast paced, but this is literally fast. Like you're moving fast, you're doing this fast. So I think that this is a perfect system for what it's trying to do.
I will say this: there's a lot. I haven't played a Blades in the Dark game for a while, so clocks.
Oh,
clocks were the trickiest part for me when we played Scum and Villainy.
Figured. Let's just say I kept track of them myself, and everything worked out. And for the impact, like I forgot about that a lot. So as in terms of like kick stuff, like I was sort of running it like a Powered by the Apocalypse type system unintentionally. But I think what's different about that is like the inbuilt stress and downtime systems, which I thought worked pretty well. But yeah, I think it took some time to settle into the system, but I have full confidence that jumping into a Fortune of the Dark game, I could run it probably.
I think that Impact is almost, well, no, I don't want to go that far. It's like a gentle DMing tool. Impact is like, truly, it's like, okay, so here's what you're trying to do. The impact's going to be small. Like, I just want, before you roll it, for you to be aware of like what the impact is going to be in your attempt here. Is it worth the potential problems?
Exactly. And I there's parts of that, and also I think a good example of using impact was like for Avery, your cool device was not built. It was a prototype. So like it wouldn't work. So you trying to use it would have a lesser impact. So like I think moments like that are really good examples, but like honestly, a lot of mechanics for me did fly under the radar because like I was just autopiloting.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be real honest. We didn't do a dare, I think.
Oh yeah.
Ever. We never did the dare.
I considered it, but we were rolling pretty good.
We were rolling so well.
We were rolling great. And also, GMs have a tool that we did not mention besides once called Bite. That like essentially I get a token to like add problems. I'm gonna be real honest. I don't need that to really do my job.
Yeah.
I kind of just do that anyways. Like Powered by the Apocalypse is like nailed into my brain that like I should just add complications to make
do things
fun.
When they're interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's just like my instinct. So I'm curious, like I didn't explore that mechanic nearly enough. And I don't know how to get it, to be honest.
In that way, it does seem like this seems probably the Forge in the Dark system in general seems as I think that's also why I have struggled with comprehending it in the past, because I have a decent amount of GM experience and I think I already have a way of working, and I think this might be pretty well designed for people who haven't done it as much. I think that it would work for either, but I think that they break down and make into mechanics things that I think you wouldn't often think to do, especially the clocks. The clocks really, really break it down into specific chunks instead of the more vague.
That's why I think clocks work better as an hourglass that's visible, a tool for tension. To be like, hey, here's a clock that you don't fucking know what it means,
but it's ticking,
but it's ticking down. Yeah. Ominous. I think that is a cool tool.
See, you're talking about. I didn't even know this was a mechanic. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's more GM side.
It's just fun.
It's also, for me, the way that it feels is almost like a built-in fairness thing of which I think when you play as much as we do, I'm thinking about, we've all been at those tables, or at least I have, where it's you get into a weird place with who's GMing the game where you're like, well, that's not, that was not my understanding of the situation. What, what happened here? Something went wrong, and that happens, I think, more often with newer GM, because you don't know what you need to explain. So having that, explain impact, show, things need to happen in order. You can't just fucking spring things on people. But once you've played a lot, that just becomes pretty natural of I don't think we needed to talk about the impact a lot, because I didn't think the impact of me throwing a piece of popcorn up and catching it in my mouth was going to be huge. We have those, we know what happens here. Yeah.
Dog, we know why we're here.
And I think impact could also be if you wanted to specifically translate it to the mechanics of it, is what that is just the amount of clock segments that get filled? If you increase impact, you fill a clock more, or no?
Maybe is that what it is?
Not necessarily.
Gonna be real honest.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know how, but
that is part of it. That is part of it, for sure.
I totally ignored that.
If you are applying it to
a
a clock, but sometimes the actions aren't applying to a current clock, so then it is just how impactful is this? Yeah.
Y'all talking about impact, it also was helpful on the player side that we had decided that at the start, okay, throwing a salt packet at a giant slug is not going to be that impactful. And so, yeah, I never felt that experience you're talking about where it was well, that's not fair. Well, earlier, because it felt like we sat down and kind of established the stakes together at the front, and it was well explained in the moment when it's okay, you're going to try to do this. And
I
really love that about this game.
I also like that conversation occurs before the action. A lot of times, the impact and the what do you call them? The kicks and the
boosts.
The boosts, yeah.
How did y'all feel about not having stats?
I love not having stats. I love just being able to do things. I love the Powered by the Apocalypse where you have your moves, or I tend in those games to play my moves much more than just rolling stats. I like doing that.
Stats on
I'm
me.
very move oriented.
It was interesting not only not having stats, but not having actions. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna
predefine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which at first I was kind of you're okay, they're charging at you. What now? At first I was I don't know. And then I was okay, this kind of feels, we just played Wanderhome, which it feels it's literally kind of endless. What do you, where do you want this to go? And this one has a little bit more structure where you are rolling. And so it took me a second, but then I got into it, and it was great having both Jess and Emma as party mates as well, because it felt like y'all were both really comfortable with it, which helped me kind of get into it as well.
Can I say, loved the smart.
Oh,
you played the smart, so you were being so fucking smart.
Really? Mm-hmm. The only time I felt kind of I'm taking this in a direction it maybe shouldn't go is when I was squaring up with Dogsburger. Because I was Avery maybe isn't.
I kind of like
we're
that.
still punks.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fucking.
Thank
We're
you.
teenagers.
It,
You got some
it
spirit.
was so funny watching Emma be the chill because listeners may not get all this, but sometimes somebody would be doing something and you're like wringing your hands, like, well, it's only that mechanic. Are you sure you want to? Like, you
then I would chill
sound
out,
such
yeah.
a meta gamer, like you can't help but be like, are we sure that's what we want to use this on?
We have fun. Can I say something?
All right.
I thought the run was super cool.
Yeah.
Y'all were rad as fuck. These characters were fucking so cool. And then they became real people. And I didn't know how to handle that. Sammy B's like version of chill flipped on a dime the moment Tori made a very strong
That was a
character
very
decision.
strong character decision.
And
I'm happy for it. I think it was interesting and fun, but
it was so compelling.
But I was
Holy
like, oh,
shit,
this
I
is where
was-
we are.
I was coming off
Yeah,
of.
I
I was ready for Avery's home life to be very strict, and I was like, where I had it mentally, it ended up being a little softer than I was like prepped
that's
for.
me,
You know what I mean?
That's
And so then coming into yours, I was like, well, I wonder if Emma is having the same vision. So I just, I decided I would go a little sharper, and as opposed to like, take it too soft, because this was our like, here's your role play chance, and it was trouble at home. It's not like
It was
a
terrifying.
slice of life.
It was return
great choice.
to the Tuttling Harvest Mole mother.
Yeah.
As soon as I said wine, I said they are going to immediately think of the tunneling harvest mole. I was like, I
didn't think
should
of
have
the
said
tunneling
scotch or
harvest mole,
something
but
else.
I thought,
You said I was
my
thinking of 2
God.
things I can see, 3 things I can feel.
yeah,
Jesus Christ. I'm chill.
I was
I'm
counting
chill.
my breaths.
I was kind of like, that's why I was kind of like removed as the father, because I was like, I kind of don't want to enter this scene. I'm kind of like,
Well, I found it.
And being the kind of like distant dad even added more to the
I
dynamic.
feel
that
like
was,
we didn't touch on that as much in the tone conversation, and that would have been interesting because I was following. I was in vibes doing like, which I think that you're right that Spider-Verse is a little bit more tense with that, but
For
I was
sure.
thinking the more like goofy but tense, which is why we went into your family energy that way. So I was a little surprised.
What
But then I was like, and we're right here.
Well, it was
we're here.
because you and Anish were having such a cute like bonding moment. You're sharing the headphones.
Holy
We-
shit.
And I was
Bring it in.
waiting for my moment.
Bring it
I was
in.
gonna say knock, like you hear a knock at the door, but then I was like,
She would not.
right, literally.
been there. Like or
You guys had a door?
if not that, the like slight knock, but going in anyway.
Knock as it's open.
Yeah.
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 That shit was crazy. I've never felt unsafe in a
I'm
home
sorry.
before.
My bad. I thought you were about to say unsafe in a role playing situation.
No.
Wow.
I felt fine.
I thought you were gonna kill me. I thought you were gonna. I felt like I was getting punished.
That's awesome. Sick. That was awesome. And yeah, making these characters real teenagers was a bold decision, and the game is crazy for that.
I did not expect to genuinely feel that cool. Like we were just describing
Oh my
shit that was
God,
happening
yeah.
when we were doing all this. And I feel like it was also because we were hyping each other up so much. Like one person would make a crazy ass decision, everyone else would go, "Oh my God," both in character and like I feel like not in character. So I was like doing this. I was like, I feel cool. This is the coolest I've ever felt in my life.
They were great characters. It really was refreshing.
It was a fun little dynamic of the
And when
trio.
we stepped off the hoverboard, that's when it got
Yeah.
a little more familiar. I was going to ask as a GM, what is the structure of the run? How much of that were you like, okay, I need something to happen now. Let me throw in a third copper, or like how much structure were you given?
Literally nothing.
Wow.
I just make shit up.
I loved the drop. It was such a good visual too. And then seeing us go directly up and not falling down at all. It was such a, I don't know, just such a perfect obstacle, or like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think y'all did a great job embodying the weirdos as a crew. I think it fell very naturally into
We
place.
were on a
and
slug. Like
We're on a slug, and it makes me so like because Jenny, this game is meant to be played to completion. And the
Let's
fact
play
that
it again.
we're doing this as a one shot, we shouldn't.
We can do home games too. It's allowed.
Okay, Jay.
Are you supposed to kill slugs in this game?
You can.
You can blast slugs. I didn't.
I mean, I feel like my
people
character
blast.
entering it did not seem kind of removed that sort of tone vibe
For
because I
sure.
was so creature obsessed.
You are sometimes fighting giant creatures.
I was just like the verb of slug blasting applies to many things.
I mean,
Yeah.
slug blasting.
Grinding.
I feel like isn't it a real term?
I have no idea.
Is it?
I don't know. I didn't think so.
I don't. I feel like it was a
Random-
made up term.
Big Gleeks in chat. Random piece of
XD.
trivia for you without
The
looking it
only
up.
thing that's coming up is the game.
Wait, something important's happening right now.
Gleeks in
Gleeks?
chat without
Okay,
looking it
okay.
up.
Yeah.
Trivia. Did Glee ever cover "Creep" by Radiohead?
I think I've heard it on TikTok.
Who
Or am I
sings
thinking
it?
of?
If it did, it was after I stopped listening.
I think
Or
so,
stopped
yeah.
Watching. I didn't watch it all the way through.
I was like, no, but like, how is that possible? Yeah, it was like in season 5 or 6, so they're in Niata. It was that random like Cody character or whoever he is.
I've
don't
heard it
even
on
know who
TikTok
that
for
is.
sure.
And then, yeah, so I was like, no, can't be true. And then I looked it up and it was. So I was curious if other Gleeks, like what your memory of
No,
it was.
I kind of stopped once the main crew was out of high school. I'm like,
Anyway, Slug Blasters is not a word outside of the game.
We keep saying slug blasters.
It pisses
What's
me
it
off.
called?
Blaster.
Oh, just Slug Blaster.
It's
The
that's
solo.
one of my
Oh, that's
biggest
the
pet
game.
peeves,
I see.
but it's a stupid pet peeve.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like most.
We're sorry.
so fun to play.
Yeah.
Like very fun characters. So fun saying "check it." That was my favorite
Check
mechanic
it.
by far.
Thank you for reminding me that check it was a thing. I would have
Oh my
forgotten
gosh,
otherwise.
constantly, yeah.
I was look at my. I was
You had
checking
style.
it.
You had
I was
style. Oh, you were
checking.
checking. Wow.
You ran out of boxes. to
I
check.
ran out of boxes.
Wow.
Damn.
It was great. I had a great time.
I need her to, or I need them to call me
Mixed Dog's Burger.
Dog Burger.
What an interesting
I
name.
feel like she was a she, right?
Yeah, we
Both
actually heard
pronouns
several.
were
There was like
used,
an
and I think
it and
they was used initially. I don't know.
ran the gambit. Yeah, but I mean,
It's
Emma,
chill.
to
I
your
also.
point,
Oh wait.
I had nothing. I got nothing bad to say about this game. It literally may be the mood I enter.
Fuck. All right. Is that?
Sometimes you need to blast some slugs. You know.
I don't.
I will be up blasting my.
That's
slug.
true.
I do.
Ooh,
I think that the energy of it being so positive and us cheering each other on so much really helped. So I would be interested to see now that there's this tension in the group,
Yeah.
if that's gonna like
There's
mess
a
with
fracture.
the style. You know, like I don't know if I would. I kind of want it to be like I love shredding with you, Dad. That kind of energy, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
We definitely had that collaborative energy in the actual thing. That's what's really cool about, I mean, what we've been talking about, that's what's cool about starting in media res or in the middle of a scene. Sorry.
No, I was like media resolution. I did not know. I thought we were talking about. I had no idea what we were talking about.
But
bad.
the like, I think that really helps you because you've got, you like you said, you stepped off the boards and you learned about who they were, but you started out just seeing their skater
the
skater
Slugblaster.
vibes.
Cool.
What you had to say, A?
I was gonna say you had something to say.
You had said something about the positivity in us as players, but also us as characters. Just the phrase I was reminded of, especially coming off of the scene at the Sammy B house. It's like what is bad for the character is good for the actor. You know what I mean? Like, so suddenly, and because I think we feel safe and trust each other, you can maybe have these like tense, uncomfortable character moments, which allow for the role-playing acting to kind of, I don't know.
I'm more in the action of slug blasting. Which I think is probably part of the game and part of what makes a crew. It's just that we didn't get to play that out with the fracture. Is like once we're back slug blasting, I would hope that we get back to that like, oh, this is what it's all about energy, because that was very joyful and fun and for Emma playing the game.
Can we be slug blasted? Don't include this.
We're including it.
Okay. Anything else to say?
No.
I'm up.
I had a
So-
great time. I felt very cool. I enjoyed the manual. I enjoyed the character.
So that's a 10 out of 10 from Tori. That is a rare W.
Rare NA.
I'm curious. Maybe this is me being fucked in the head. But like, Jess, you picked a trait that is a once per run.
Mm-hmm.
I have a trait that is a once per run, and I chose not to pick it because I knew we were only doing one run, and I wanted to use my shit a lot. Is that something y'all think about, or is that just me metagaming?
What was the thing?
My thing was my middle finger. Or what
Yes.
was Emma's thing?
Yeah, what was...
Mine was the guys. I kept finding hidden shit.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
Well,
yeah.
no, what was the thing that would have been...
The one that's like always...
That you could have
it's
selected.
It's called Lucky. Once per run, dumb luck helps you. A tree falls on a monster. Lasers
Gotcha.
miss as you tie your shoes. You unknowingly give someone a perfect gift. So I can like evoke that.
This feels very similar to the mundane, the class or the playbook and monster of the week, just in terms of like since they are chill
yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
if the force of caring or not giving a fuck or whatever is similar to a supernatural force, it only affects them from an external source.
And I have got to see a commission of this gummy worm. It seems so dang cute. What I'm picturing in my head.
You
my
say
goodness.
that worm that I played seems really cute.
I just the idea of it being like I imagine it being like not having 4 legs, but just like 2 legs, you know, like sideways like a graham cracker is.
It is a worm.
Because it's like a dragon, yeah?
Yeah.
But like a worm.
Yeah, it's a specific type of dragon.
Here comes the wyverns versus the whatever.
But yeah, it's the fucking dragon.
I recently got into an argument about like the difference between wizards and sorcerers and stuff with someone. That shit.
Oh, I bet.
is- inhale for 3 seconds. Exhale for 4.
Look who decided to show up.
Tell me about wizards and sorcerers. I'm sorry.
I had nothing more to say.
Well, guess we should leave the table.
Turns out there's a fracture in the podcast, loves. I have an idea for a game. This is not related. It's a Forged in the Dark game about running a tabletop role playing game podcast. I think that would be really cool. And the other factions are other podcasts or like people on social media. Anyway,
I love it.
I'm
We
gonna
should
write
do it for like next April or something.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
I mean, maybe he'd appreciate being shouted out. Anyway.
Any final thoughts?
No.
Okay. Well,
Who blasted?
we'll see
I
you.
actually do have a thought. Sorry.
Fuck you. My fault.
All right, let's end it.
Okay,
Goodbye.
thank you so
See you at a
much.
different
We'll
table.
see you at a different table. Blast some slugs. And
Hey,
Subscribe to our Patreon.
that's not what I was.
Sorry, I thought you said and.
I
didn't
thought
think
so
you said
too, which
and.
is why it took me
Also-
a second.
Also, Emma, you're supposed to say A.
Okay, let's try it again.
N.
A.
C.
L.
Wait, we should do R.
T.
Now you said T.
What did you think it was?
RPG.
Oh, I thought we were doing
were
RTC.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Okay, literally see you at a different
I have to be
table.
I have to be at the airport at 3 a.m.
Okay, goodbye. What?
Bye.
Bye.
Where are you going?
Oh, wait, I stopped recording. I guess.